On October 2nd, we sent a trade alert to Morpheus Crypto members, notifying them of our pullback entry into Link at $7.58. After a few weeks of tight sideways price action, Link exploded higher and we sold into strength for a 25% gain. But while that swing trade led to a solid gain, the real excitement in Link is just getting started. In this episode of Morpheus Crypto, we walk through the charts to show you the simple technical analysis that led to our recent winning trade in Link. More importantly, we'll show you why a massive breakout on the weekly chart tells us that Link may be poised for much bigger gains in the coming weeks, and we're going to show you the ideal buy points to take advantage of this potential opportunity. After a challenging bear market, the crypto bull is definitely back, and you don't want to miss out. So before we get started, be sure to press the like button and subscribe to ensure you don't miss out on any other hot trade setups. And remember that everything we say in our videos is not financial advice. It's simply our interpretation of what the charts say. So let's see what the charts say. What you're looking at here are daily charts of Bitcoin on the left and Link on the right side. And this is what the chart looked like at the time that we entered Link on October 2nd. So we're going to walk you through exactly what we saw that made us want to buy Link when we did. Now, one of the key factors of the Morpheus swing trading strategy is relative strength. We're continually looking for altcoins that are showing relative strength to Bitcoin and Ethereum because the cryptos that have relative strength often go on to become the leaders when a market that's trending lower eventually bounces. If a crypto has so much relative strength that it doesn't even go down when the market does, then typically that's the first crypto to explode higher when the rest of the market does as well. And let's go ahead and take a look at the picture here. And I'm going to draw a rectangle to make it easier for you to see what we're referring to. And we're going to go back here to the lows of September 11th. And you can see the lows of September 11th start right here with this candle. And we'll draw the same rectangle on the chart of Link going back to September 11th as well. By drawing the rectangles, it's easy to compare the relative strength. And we have our chart set up that we're continually able to compare relative strength of individual cryptos with the broad market. And at first glance, it may look kind of similar, but if you start to look closely, the relative strength becomes very apparent. And starting with the lows of September 11th, notice that on September 19th and 20th, Bitcoin ran into resistance of its 50-day moving average. It's this red line, and it was still well below its prior high that failed from the August 29th rally. But let's take a look at Link. Link, during that same time period of September 19th and 20th, had already broken through and broke out above its 50-day moving average. And notice that it's well above its prior high from late August, which is way down here. So already we noticed that Link was starting to show relative strength when it broke out above its 50-day moving average ahead of Bitcoin. That's a signal that we use to look for a market that's starting to turn bullish. We look for cryptos that reclaim their 50-day moving average ahead of the rest of the market. Now, when we spotted that, we didn't have enough price confirmation to get in, and we watched the price action. We noticed that it started trending steadily higher for several weeks. And as it was doing that, Bitcoin was just chopping around, going sideways mainly right up until October 1st when we had that rally. But by the time Bitcoin rallied on October 1st, Bitcoin had only rallied up to test its prior high from August 29th, and Link by that point was already way up here, well above its high of the past several months. Now, we don't chase. That's one thing that's really important to understand about our trading strategy. If we don't catch a breakout, we wait for the first pullback to support. Typically, strong cryptos are always going to pull back or at least give you some type of consolidation to get a lower risk entry point. And that's what we did. We simply waited for a pullback, and we noticed that this 8-period moving average was acting, 8-period exponential moving average, the green line, was acting firmly as support. Notice how every time Link pulled back, it came into support of that 8-day moving average and rallied. So our entry that we were looking for was an undercut of the 10-day moving average. Often you get an undercut of a strong crypto where it dips below that 8-period moving average for a day or two and then snaps back above it. So we were looking at buying on a dip below the 10-day moving average, and that's exactly what happened on October 2nd. We bought right here at $7.58 on a slight undercut of the 10-day moving average when Bitcoin started to pull back as well. Okay, so here's the chart of Link at the time we entered at 758. Let's go ahead and see what happened after. We see after our entry point right here, we got several weeks of tight sideways price action, and it held above the 20-day exponential moving average. Notice we had just a dip below it for a couple of days there, which is what we call an undercut, but not enough to invalidate the setup. Now, we always set a protective stop at the time of entry, and when we got in this trade, we set a stop below the 20-day exponential moving average plus some wiggle room. So our stop was actually down here just below the $7 level at the time of entry. And our stop did not get hit. The price actually held above the $7 mark the whole time. And after several weeks of sideways price action, it broke out above this downtrend line that we see right here, a developing downtrend line. And this is when the rest of the market started to heat up as well. And as soon as Bitcoin started to bounce, it ripped. Big volume. Look at this big volume that came in, and it blasted off and rallied from $7.50 all the way up to $11, basically a 50% gain in just 3 days. And that's the power of relative strength trading, being in the cryptos that have the top relative strength, leads the market. And we sold not at the high. We sold at $9.50 on October 22nd right here, which led us to a 25% gain over the course of about a 3-week period. Now, the question is, why did we sell at $9.50, right? The market was going up. Why would we want to take profits there? Well, the answer lies in the weekly chart. It's important to always do multiple time frame analysis. Look at all different time frames so that you can see support and resistance levels. And looking at the weekly chart, zooming out to the longer term weekly chart, shows the big picture trend. And if we take a look here at the weekly chart, we see something very interesting. Let's go ahead and draw some horizontal lines here. And we see that, first of all, notice that Bitcoin has been trading in a sideways range, as shown by this rectangle, since May of 2022. For 17 months, almost a year and a half, Link was trading in a sideways range. Now, what happened was, the reason we decided to take profits was because of resistance. There was 2 levels of horizontal price resistance. First was right around the 875 level, and we broke through that price pretty quickly. And then we knew that there was going to be another level of resistance at the actual high of the range, which is right at $9.50. It was actually the high of this day right here, $9.50. So our exit was simply selling into strength due to resistance of the high of this range. Okay, so if the market was going to pull back, that's definitely the spot where it would have done so, as we test the resistance of this almost year and a half long range right at $9.50. So that was a logical place to lock in profits and take profits. And we told our members in the chat room, we said, if Link breaks out above $9.50, we'll definitely be looking for a reentry on a pullback. And that's exactly what happened. The next day, Link broke out above that level. And now let's go ahead and take a look at where it's at and how you may be able to take advantage of the big opportunity that's coming with this breakout on the weekly chart. First of all, if you're new to technical analysis, it's important to understand that the longer that you have a base of consolidation like this, the more powerful the eventual breakout when the price moves above it, because that's all, like, think of it as, pent up energy. Like if you compress a spring tighter, once you let go of that spring, the tighter you compress it, the more the spring is going to expand. And that's really what we have here, is basically a year and a half of compressed price action. So there's a lot of pent up buying pressure in here with that breakout above 950. Also, the most basic tenet of technical analysis is that a prior level of resistance becomes the new support after the resistance is broken. So that means that this prior level of resistance at $9.50 now becomes support on a pullback. That's the level where we could expect the price to hold and then continue higher. Now let's go back to the daily time frame and take a look at what we have going on. First of all, we notice that since the breakout of the past several days, volume has really been picking up. Average volume in Link is about 5 million coins a day traded. And notice that volume spiked to about 300 to 400% higher than average for 3 days in a row. And that's what you want to see. The volume is the gasoline that drives the rally. The more volume, the more you're pressing on the gas pedal of your car. And the more you press on the gas pedal, the faster your car goes. Well, it's the same with the volume. The more volume, the more powerful the breakout. So we definitely like that volume that we saw. And after we sold at 950, we definitely knew that we wanted to look for a potential reentry. Now, the market, in hindsight, is very strong. So we thought we might get a pullback to this 875 level, this first level of resistance, and we were looking for a reentry at that price, but it didn't happen. And the most important thing is, even though that we thought we might get a pullback to that, it didn't happen. And we trade what we see, not what we think. It's okay to have an opinion, but we don't trade our opinion. We trade what the charts are telling us. And when the price action is so strong that it doesn't pull back, then you either miss out on a trade completely or you look for an alternative entry point. And in this case, what we did was we actually just re-entered the trade earlier today. And I'll show you why. Let's take a look at this 4-hour chart. We got a pullback to the 8-period moving average on the 4-hour chart, and that started to hold. And based on overall market conditions, we're not anticipating much more of a pullback, so we took a shot with partial share size just over the $10 mark. We sent a trade alert to members earlier today and told them we were re-entering, so we've already got about a 4% profit on the trade since we got in earlier today. Now, when we have this type of trade where we get in, without much of a pullback, we already were planning on adding to the position. If we get more of a pullback down to the 950 area, we plan to add to the position. That's part of our initial plan. But if the pullback doesn't become any greater, then we've got at least a partial position to ride profits higher. We don't want to miss out on this breakout because of the fact that Link was a former leader. If we go back to the 2020 and 2021 bull market, we can see that Link was a big leader. And I remember trading this, and our members made a lot of profit in this in the chat room. And Link was a big leader, ran from about $10 all the way up to $50, about a 500% run back in the previous bull market. And Link has strong fundamentals, and typically the cryptos with strong fundamentals are the ones that lead when there's a new bull run in the crypto market. And that's basically what we have going on now. We've got a new bull run, and there's a possibility that Link could start to show leadership again and take off. And the most important thing is there's no resistance anywhere nearby, because anybody that wanted out is already out now when we broke out above that resistance level. So it's kind of blue skies here with Link being at a new 52-week high. So if you're not already in this trade, again, we don't want to chase it, but you can look for a relatively low risk entry point if you get another slight pullback to the $10 area. Another possibility is if we don't get a pullback, we could get some more sideways price action, also known as a consolidation. When prices correct, they either correct by price, which means a pullback, or you can get a correction by time, which is a consolidation. So instead of a pullback, one scenario is we might actually get some sideways price action here for the next several days, trading in a range. And if that price action tightens up, if we get a volatility contraction, that would provide us with a lower risk entry point if you're not already long. With our re-entry into Link today, we set a protective stop just below both of these horizontal levels. Right here is our stop, because if the price goes back below both of these new support levels, we definitely don't want to be in anymore. The trade's invalid. But as long as it stays above these support levels, we'll continue to maximize the profit. And now that Link has broken out on the weekly chart, we're not going to be so quick to take profits. We'll look to let the profits ride, and we will hold through pullbacks and ride the trend higher as long as the price action remains bullish. Right now, the emphasis is on Bitcoin, as Bitcoin broke out above the 33,000 mark, and we're actually going to be doing another video. Keep an eye out on our YouTube channel for another video showing you the current state of Bitcoin. But once the Bitcoin takes a rest, then we're going to see most likely funds rotate back into the altcoin market, and definitely Link has the potential to be a leader. So get your trading plan together. Keep an eye on this. Again, if we see a tight volatility contraction, you could buy a move above the high of the volatility contraction. You could look for an inside day where the price action trades completely within the previous day. For example, tomorrow, if we get an inside day where the high and the low is contained within today's range, then the first move above the high of that inside day is a potential buy point as well. Of course, if we do get a pullback to the 950 level, then that provides you with an even lower risk entry point with a high risk reward. But again, don't count on that pullback. Instead, we could get a correction by time. So we hope that you take advantage of this Link opportunity. So again, the Link weekly chart could offer some great opportunity here in the coming weeks with a breakout and no resistance nearby. So get your trading plan together and let's make some money together. So we hope you have Link in your sights and you've got a solid trading plan for entry and exit based on the input that we gave you. And if you're new to Morpheus Trading, head on over to morpheustrading.com, click on Crypto Picks to get started with Morpheus Crypto Pro, and you'll receive live trade alerts to your mobile phone telling you our exact entries and exits so that you can also look to potentially profit from these trades, like the 25% gain that we just scored in Link and we're in once again. We hope you found this video insightful and educational, and remember to trade what you see, not what you think. See you back in the next Morpheus Crypto video.